If you think about some of the most dominant athletes to ever do their sports, people like Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, the Williams sisters, Wayne Gretzky, and more, you'll notice that they're all worth a lot of money. And when it comes to boxing, the man who really made his name in not just winning, but in making money is Floyd Mayweather. And how he did it is honestly a remarkable story in and of itself. So allow us to show you exactly how Floyd Mayweather made $1 billion. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 8. Everyone loves to hate a villain. Before we really dive into his history, we need to acknowledge something that Floyd does just about better than anyone else: showmanship. That may sound like an odd thing to discuss, but when it comes to Floyd Mayweather, it's a major thing because his persona, his showmanship, his ability to be a braggadocious person lends to why he made a lot of money. Because think about it, if he was just a good boxer and had an undefeated record, which many do have on various levels, you may have heard of them, but not cared. But with Floyd, you have to know about him because he has to tell you about everything he does. He became a villain of the highest order because he kept winning in sometimes controversial ways, like barely fighting until the end. And we all wanted to see him lose. That is something money can't buy. That comes from within. Everyone hates a villain, and we want to see them lose. Sadly, we never got that chance with Floyd, which makes him even greater. And should he ever come out of retirement again, yeah, we're going to root for him to lose so that he doesn't get any more money. But as in all things, his career did not start at the top. It started with him as an amateur. Number 7. His amateur boxing career. Regardless of the sport you're in, you have to start at the bottom and work your way up, even when you're a prospect with an infinite amount of talent. And yeah, that applied to Mayweather. He wanted to be a boxer, and ironically, he had the perfect teacher and mentor via his father, who used to box himself. Through his teachings, he grew and eventually went on to be an amateur boxer. Now, if you're thinking he went undefeated in that time, you'd be wrong. He had 90 matches during that time, and he won 82 of them, so he did take some lumps. But having winning percentage that high is incredibly impressive. Plus, the amount of fighting he did showed a lot about him, including his willingness to keep fighting even after some losses, which he obviously didn't have to worry about in his pro career. Number 6. How to dominate a sport. No matter the sport, there is a jump between the levels you play at, and boxing is definitely that way. But did Floyd care? Nope. He went 18-0 in his first 2 years and won his first world title in a way that would be indicative of his career, meaning he barely broke a sweat in that fight, and the opponent's corner threw in the towel to end it. His style of boxing, a very defensive style, earned him the nickname Pretty Boy because he wouldn't let foes touch him enough to hurt his face. Believe it or not, there are many fighters who start off their careers on this kind of a hot streak, but for Floyd, he wanted to take it to the next level, and that meant making next level money, which was a problem for a reason you might not expect. Number 5. Top rank. For the first 37 fights of Money Mayweather's career, he was assigned to Top Rank, which was one of the biggest fight promoters in the world. So you'd think he'd be perfectly happy with his money-making ability with them. He was, and he wasn't. In 2007, he was making $5 million for every battle he was in, which means that by the time he was 37-0, his record before leaving them, he would have had $185 million, give or take, from his fight winnings. That obviously is a lot of money, and more than many sports stars make in their careers, but Floyd wasn't interested in making that much. He was interested in making much more, and Top Rank, as good as they were, was holding him back. Number 4. Mayweather Promotions. So how would Floyd make the money he wanted? By betting on himself, of course. But with his contract to Top Rank, that was going to be supremely difficult. He went and looked over the entire contract and realized that it had an opt-out clause that would allow him to leave for a payout of $750,000, which he paid without hesitation. Thus was born Mayweather Promotions, where he dedicated his time and craft to making more and more money for himself and building up his brand. Number 3. Money. This was when Floyd Money Mayweather was born. He became the villain we outlined earlier and used every opportunity possible to show why he was the best in the world and incredibly rich. His plan worked too. His first match on his own was worth $8 million. And then when he did the super fight against Oscar De La Hoya, and he pocketed $25 million. Since that point, any boxing match he was in couldn't get him to fight for anything less than $25 million. Number 2. The Hype Man. But Floyd knew he couldn't stop with just one super fight. He had to not just go after the best in the world, he had to make every fight seem like it was the most important fight ever, which he did. That's why many people wanted to fight Floyd. Not just for the chance to beat him, but to make serious money either way. Fights against Mayweather meant money. That drew everyone to him like moths to a flame. He was so good at what he did that by the time the super fight with Pacquiao happened, he pocketed $250 million for one fight. Number 1. How to branch out. If not apparent, Floyd is a smart man, and he knew that sometimes you have to go outside your comfort zone to win money, which is what he did with the WWE and with MMA. After his first retirement, he went and made a deal with WWE for a match at their biggest event, WrestleMania. He'd fight The Big Show and got worldwide coverage for it. Floyd won and got $20 million out of the deal. Then, of course, he faced MMA legend Conor McGregor, a boxer versus MMA dream match that had everyone riveted before the match and pumped after it, when McGregor came to play and honestly took Floyd to his limit. How much did he get for that fight? $275 million, which helped him cross the billion-dollar mark at last. So there you have it, everyone, a look at the history of Floyd Mayweather and how he went from just another boxer to Money Mayweather, and how he is indeed about $1 million strong in his net worth. Can you believe the steps he had to take in order to make this happen? Can you see now that Floyd is smarter than most people give him credit for? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.